All right. Hi, everybody. We are live. My name is Constance Jones. I have here with me Miss Alicia Green. Excited to have her here with us. So today we're going to talk about pretty much autism. And I just wanted to talk about initially why I started this podcast, pretty much to start a petition, to start a school for children with autism in Philadelphia, which is something we don't necessarily have. Which what is great about Alicia having Alicia here is she can give us, just different perspectives with the different places that she's been that people in Philadelphia most likely don't know about if you haven't been to those states. So to just get her insight on that is awesome and other things that she's going to provide. So yes, so now we have here Alicia, and she is a mother of two,
Yes.
and one of them being on the spectrum, autism spectrum, having autism spectrum disorder.
hmm
And she's going to be here to explain to us. So thanks for being here.
Thank you, Constance.
Yes, I'm really excited to have you here. So we're just going to go right into our questions.
Sure.
Um, well, I just want to ask some questions just for some people watching. So you do have two children. If you just want to talk a little bit about,
Sure.
you, yourself, your children, and just a little bio for us.
Sure. So I have two kids. I have two boys. So I'm a boy mom. I have a 16-year-old and a 6-year-old. The 6-year-old is the one on the spectrum. A little background, he got diagnosed. I found out that my son, which his name is Drew, found out he was diagnosed with autism like around the age of 2, but it wasn't fully documented from the state as yet. It was more from his pediatrician and all the other doctors and what they have seen before and what I was explaining to them. And so once they saw those signs, they took it from there and decided to, do their diligence and started making sure what I needed for him. Um, yeah, and other than that, that's how it's kind of started.
Okay, so you were saying that you were the one that was saying that you saw certain things, and then
Yeah,
from what you said,
yeah.
or did they like show you things? Because I feel like our stories may be a little bit similar. Where for me, I had to kind of show my doctor like these are things going on. I think this is what he has, versus them saying the opposite.
Well, I believe at a younger age. So when he did his first visit at 1 year old, because the pediatrician we had, she delivered me. She'd been seeing him for so long, and then she realized some of the signs, and so did I. And we both came to agreement, like, okay, I think he's on the spectrum. But she said she couldn't really diagnose him, and
Yeah.
to just keep a eye out on him and look out for the things that that she suggested or she suspect.
Yeah.
And so I did the same. I just after 1 year old, I just started looking, and then once he turned 2, and then I realized he wasn't saying anything to me. He wasn't saying mom. He wasn't saying dad. Just certain different things. But prior before that, he did everything: 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. He did everything normal. But
Okay.
at the age of 2, it just stopped, and he just got mute. I had everything were sign language, kind of like per se. That's how I communicated with him. um or just I will show him pictures, and then that's how he'll know what he wants, and then we took it from there. And then I just started working with him every single day, just so he can get the speech barrier or speech together, so we can communicate.
Okay. Wow, that's awesome that you're able to work with pretty much your pediatrician together as a team.
Yeah, yeah. They were located in New Jersey, which is where he was born. And so when she saw that, she's like, you know what, Elisa, you need to just keep a look at it and keep an eye on it. And once I saw those signs at 2, we were still in New Jersey. I called. There's a number where you suggest there is a child having any type of developmental delay. I reached out to
Okay.
them. I got a phone call within the same day. Actually, I got a phone call the same day saying, "Hey, I got a message saying that you have some concerns with your son who has a developmental delay," because that's what they called it at first. Because they don't want to diagnose, they can't diagnose a child with autism at 2, which is what I was told from the providers. And so, you know, once I saw those signs, I kind of just made my contacts with everyone, and they came to the house. They did their assessment. Once they did their assessment, they already know what they're looking for, and then they told me like, okay, yes, he does have a developmental delay, and we're going to start working on some papers. We're going to start giving him some speech therapy, some OT therapy, and yeah, and feeding therapy, because he was a picky eater.
So how long would you say that took from, I guess, the moment you called to them coming in and setting all that up?
It was I literally I want to say everything was done within a month because he started school.
Wow.
Yes, he started school the next month, which was he was in daycare pre-K,
Uh-huh.
um, and when they first reached out and to me with all the information and resources, they started coming to the school, the daycare, but it was too many therapists. There were like 6 and 7 and 8 therapists.
Yeah.
He was getting really, he started having meltdowns. The teachers from the daycare would tell me that he was unhappy, he was sad. So I stopped it.
Yeah.
I listen, I don't know who I am I talking to. I'm talking to a whole bunch of therapists and different people that just say, here go your insurance, just going left and right. And nobody cares. So I stopped it. And then once I took a step back, I did went back deeper, started doing my resources and trying to find out what was the best interest for him. And they told me to put him in public school. And to shockingly, the public school in New Jersey have two classes, one where there's level one and level two.
Mm-hmm.
So once I had another whole big meeting, IEP meeting with the psychologist and everyone, and we kind of discussed what we wanted for him. And first day's like, he's smart, he's great, let's put him in level two.
Yeah.
Problem is, yes, he was smart, but he wasn't potty trained, and
Okay.
he was about what 5, so he wasn't potty trained as yet. So they put him to level one. So with all that being said, from the transition of him finding out where he was 2 years old, getting the assessment done, getting sure his IEP and his speech, everything took within a month, and he was starting from there. Just everything was regular, getting his weekly therapy sessions. So I would say it was pretty good.
I love to hear that because I'm not sure if you know which you may, but in Philly, you just don't hear about
No,
that
you
at
do.
all. It's taking months for some children to get a therapist. I know my son didn't have a speech therapist all summer, and the one he had before wasn't taking notes, so that the one he has now had to kind of figure out where to start from because, so everything you're saying, I'm just like, ooh, but it's so good to hear though, because a lot of parents like me don't know that stuff like that is
Yeah,
possible. But
it
I
does.
have spoken to other parents from Jersey that live in Philly, but somehow they're able to have their kids go to a school in Jersey because it works out for them. I'm
Yeah,
not sure how they finagled that,
I don't know either.
but they did. And when they told me about all the services, I was like,
They
wow, right
do.
across the bridge.
They do. They have everything in New Jersey. Now, once that happened, I relocated. My dad was sick, so I had moved back to PA.
Okay.
And once I moved back to PA, the pandemic came, and
Okay.
he everything got transferred from New Jersey. Everything was very smooth. They didn't give me any issue. The only thing they wanted me to do was that Pennsylvania wanted to have their own identification as far as their physical, like eyes, nose,
Okay.
temperature, all that, height, all that stuff. They just wanted the regular basis. But every package, every IUP, every meeting, everything that he came from Jersey, which I had a really, really great social worker. Her name is Ashley. She was amazing. She stuck with me. She step by step, and she transferred everything to PA. And once I got transferred everything in PA, I was living in Montgomery County, and they just got everything done for me, and they figure out a public school for him to go to. But the pandemic came, and then they had to do everything virtual.
Right.
And then that didn't work because virtual is not, for people who don't know, it's hard for a child to sit down still for within 5 minutes, and that was not agreeing with him. So I had to stop that because it wasn't making any sense. He wasn't sitting down, he wasn't paying attention to the other kids, he wasn't listening to the teachers. I know they were playing songs. It was not working out.
Yeah, I heard it was very difficult
It
for
was bad.
at the time. I didn't have to do that, and I was just thinking, if I did had to do this, I would not be able to do this because he would not be able to sit here for longer than really 3 minutes for my
It
son.
was stressing me out. I was stressed out because they were like, "Hey, Lisa, I want him to come on," and I'm like, "He can't stay still. Yes, he can watch the YouTube for like maybe 2 to 5 minutes, but it wasn't. He was not keeping still at all. So I had to decline
Yeah,
that part of the therapy session that he was getting, and then I relocated down here because I found that the services, they had everything provided for him here. Granted, I did had some challenges in between, but once I found out the services and what they provide down here, I just made the move down here.
Okay. And then where exactly, just so.
I'm in North Carolina, so I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay, so they you said it was the getting services there was fairly smooth, you're
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. It was
Okay.
the transition wasn't bad at all. It was pretty good. I had one little hiccup as far as his providers because once you move to another location and all that documents have to transfer over. Not every state is different.
Yeah.
Every terminology is different. Even though it's autism, every state does everything differently.
Okay.
And him being the fact that he was born in New Jersey, the state of New Jersey that provided and started everything for him, I got spoiled, I would say, with the resources, and I knew what to look for and what to ask for, I would say.
Nice.
So because of that, and I was able to see the behind scenes. Once I move, I knew what questions I need to ask, what not to take, how far to push. You
Mhm.
know that you're supposed to renew your IEP every year. You're allowed to request it without any turn downs. So I wanted to make sure I had my education and resources properly before I started to intervene. But I did have my minor hiccups. My Most of my hiccups were schools and providers. Those are my hiccups with him.
Okay, when you're saying schools, so because that actually gets us into what are some of the struggles that you had with,
School.
so if you want to go into that
I do. So funny when I transferred everything from from Philadelphia to here. The provider wanted to do their own physical, ask the questions and so on. So I brought all the documents over, and I said, hey, I wanted to make sure and retest them. And she said, what do you mean retest them? I said, well, I want to get my son retested because I want to see exactly where he is. Like, what level is he on? How, where do I need to work on with him? Where's his strength and weaknesses? Unfortunately, she was just a regular provider that sees everybody and not just one person. So she gave me attitude. She told me they don't do that in this state. She gave me all the negative reasons that I was not trying to hear.
Yeah.
So I decided to call his social worker. Caseworker was amazing. Again, another person who was amazing. And she gave me some resources and links to make sure and I connected. We have a really big local company here called Autism of Society of North Carolina. And I called them and connect with other members, and they send me some resources where I can actually get the providers I needed for him, which I did. And
Okay.
now he has just one doctor that's specified for children with autism, and that's who he sees on a monthly basis or wherever he needs to go. So
Nice.
on that level, health wise, that it was fine. School wise, I feel like public schools don't understand the dynamics of a child who have autism. I know they follow the public school policies, but we also want our child to participate in those things. But unfortunately, some of the schools don't have the resources provided for them, such as teachers. You got regular classes right now, don't have that much teachers right now.
Yeah.
So the issue that I was having was that they were complaining about, his behavior, or if I feel like if he's having a meltdown, I don't take him to school because then that just interrupts the other class. It interrupts the teachers. I don't know how is he going to react to her, and then I know I'll have to go back to the school again and do what I need to do. So I try my best when he does have meltdowns to keep him home.
Okay. Does he have a one-on-one, by the way?
Um, for what, for speech or OT
Or,
or
I guess when he's in school. So my son had to get a one-on-one because he elopes or he at least used to
oh,
elope, and he don't like listening to the teacher. So, his one-on-one is with him. I had to write in his IEP, like we had to write in his IEP
mhm.
that he has to have a one-on-one with him during the whole duration of the school, and that has really cut a lot out for me
Yeah,
because, like, even at the school that my son's at, some parents will come in, but that's what the one-on-one is for. So if
right,
you can ask for like a PCA one-on-one. They definitely
right,
have those. And if you write it in the IEP, then someone
right,
should be there with him once you drop him off and
right.
once you pick him up. And like I'll text my son's one-on-one. So he has all his therapists.
Yes,
She's
good.
like his school mom pretty much.
Okay,
So
that's
if you
good.
work on that, that'll give you probably some relief too. So that it's like, okay, I know that like this person is specifically here for my son. And then I was a one-on-one. So, it does make you feel a lot better.
It does. I must try that because I haven't. He didn't need. I guess what I'm saying is he probably didn't need to. Based on, I always get nervous when he gets a meltdown when I bring him to the school. So once I take him to the school and he happens to have a meltdown, so there's times where he don't want to be in school. He don't want to go to school at all. He don't want to see the
Yeah.
teachers. He don't want to be bothered. And he will have a meltdown. And then they'll tell me, go ahead, mom, you just go ahead. And once I do go ahead, I'm still staying there because just in case I have to go back in. And then most of the time they told me, okay, he's fine. He's okay. He went back to normal. So in that case, I guess they didn't needed a one-on-one for him because he kind of calms down. But then there's days when they say he wasn't listening, he's just talking in class.
Yeah, so the one-on-one can decide how often kind of, or you can decide how often you will want her. Like, everyone can kind of decide on the team. Should the one-on-one need to be next to him, or does the one-on-one just need to be in the back of the class? You see what I'm saying? So,
Sorry.
but knowing that you have someone there for your son every day, and then even for instance, for me, the one-on-one almost tells me about behaviors, and then the teacher is telling me about education. So it gives me the separate sort of like report,
Yeah.
because sometimes some teachers are always just telling you about behavior, and it's just like, okay,
Yes.
so what else though?
Yes.
Like, you already know he's going to be Austin. Austin does Austin things. So what else are we going to, talk about today? Not saying my son's teacher now, because his teacher now doesn't do that, but some teachers don't know really, I feel like, how to report a day where I need to hear some positive things.
Instead of negative, and that's the issues I'm having
Yeah.
also. They don't understand if they don't see my son for 5 days, actually shouldn't be a question, because he has those days and I choose not to bring him to school. Even for things where he doesn't sit down. Well, he's autistic, so therefore those things will come with him. So those are the issues I also have on my end with
Yeah.
some of the teachers, especially the young ones who are just coming out of just starting. Let's say that. Let's just say they're starting and it's less experience. So they tend to think of it as, oh, they're doing bad. No, they're not doing bad because they don't even know.
Yeah.
They
And
don't.
once it's written in the IEP, they can't really argue with you. So for instance, I had a friend that her dad told me that when she, I guess, worked on stuff, she didn't want to sit down, but she needed some space. So they wrote in the IEP that she needs to have some space. You see what I'm saying? There are some things that you can't make our children change to do. So you need to work with our children. And if you can't work with our children, then we need to figure out why you can't do your job correctly,
And
and then
that's
we need to figure out who needs to have that job. So that's the energy. That's the energy.
I'm the same way. It's the boy.
That,
I literally spoke to his principal and I said, I kind of feel bad. I'm like, you make his absence feel like his absence is bad. Like he's in kindergarten, so there's nothing that you're reporting because he's not going to college right now. So but when they do speak of it, as a mom, I feel bad. Like, yes, he's missing those days, but he's missing those days for a reason.
yeah,
I have a better chance being home with him, and sometimes he gives me a hard time and sometimes he don't, but I've seen him with other specialists and see how they don't know how to interact with him properly because they just leave him and they watch him and he still does his thing on his own.
yeah.
So how about I take the
They're
time
only
out?
there for like an hour anyway.
That's
They're
it.
not really there. And that's what I talk about in the IEP meetings. I'm like, he got 6 specialists who only see him 45 minutes one time out of the week, all on different days. But it's the consistency, which is where the one-on-one, which I feel like
Yeah.
you really should fight for. You could also get your one-on-one to come to the house, which is what I'm working on right now. Like, she's gonna go to the grocery store with us. Like, me and you, we probably in the same boat, because yeah,
Oh,
like the one-on-one and you can get them through, I think, like a behavior health sort of thing. So just ask about it, because if you have an IEP, I'm pretty sure you can get like a PCA emergency one-on-one. And the
okay.
way you get an emergency one is just saying, look, he does all these things that makes it difficult for him to stay in class. He needs this person. And I'm not saying the person is going to fix everything, but that person can at least like help you, so that it feels like you have more of a team of someone that's there. So when
Right.
he is having a meltdown, that person, because like my son's one-on-one will let me know. She'll call and be like, hey, Austin's having a meltdown. And I'll be like, okay, why? She'll be like, okay, well, they were playing a game and he doesn't like losing. We all know my son doesn't like my son don't like losing.
Neither
So
does
if he's losing, he's gonna melt down. And
that.
transitions are not good for him. If you guys say you're going out for 20 minutes and you went out for 10 minutes, because he's going to clock you and he's going to have a meltdown. But
That's
then that's something that we know of, so that it's not just like a teacher saying, oh, he had a meltdown, I need to know
right.
the reason why.
Right.
Because whatever the reason is, then I can talk to him on that level and
Yes.
be like, hey, so that we can. So I really feel like I really feel like we should talk, especially later on, and I can help you out with getting this one-on-one. I feel like that would definitely help with some things in the future because
That
it's
would be
for me.
definitely great. That would really reduce some of the stress on on my
Yeah,
end. I
yeah,
didn't know they go to the grocery store with you. I didn't, but he did had an ABA therapist. He was approved to get an ABA therapy that came to the home, which is what I was giving you an example. She
yeah.
didn't do anything. She came to my house, sat and asked me 100 million questions, and never watched my son. And
Okay,
ran
yeah,
he ran circles around her. So I said, basically, you're fired. I'm not going to do this because
yeah.
we're not doing anything for him. He gets more interest in helping school than he gets with the ABA therapist. So I'm giving it a chance.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe try a different one because everybody's different too. And then
everybody
I
is
feel like we probably got the same sort of kid. My son really needs a man at some point, and that's really difficult because it's like almost everyone's kind of a woman. And I'm like, okay, well, we may have to switch it up or may have to change it up a little bit because then, they get comfortable and then they know how to play people. You got smart kids.
he plays me all the
You
time.
got smart kids. That's I'm like, you know what you're doing. You know what
Yes,
you're
he does as smart, and their meltdowns and their behavioral issues. They're still a kid. They're
Yeah,
they're,
exactly. Yep.
they're still a kid. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 year old.
Yeah.
They're gonna cry. Their feelings are gonna hurt. They're gonna go through the same emotions. It's just a child with autism tends to be a little bit more attention, a little bit more love, a little bit more secure, a little bit more protection, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You got to go extra for it. And times it could be, and we're tired and we're drained, but we just have to keep going. We have to sacrifice that. Listen, this is what they want at the moment. I don't sleep. My son has what is it, a sleeping pattern problems. Like he gets up in the middle of the night, and it's maybe sometimes he gets nightmare from what he watches from the tablet or whatever it is, but he's constantly in his world. I like to say he's constantly in his world, and I feel like the brain don't rest. It's not
Yeah.
calm.
It's
So
yeah.
because it's not calm and it's racing, it's even racing in his sleep. And he gets up and he's like, "Mom," and he's like, "What's going on?" And it takes forever for him to go back to sleep. And then
Oh, yeah.
it takes forever to go back to sleep. And then, so for example, I'll put him to bed. Like I can't put him to bed too early, because if I put him to bed too early, then he gets to get up at like within the middle of like 1, 2 in the morning. Then
Yeah.
he's not able to go back to sleep. So I gave him a bedtime between 9 and 10ish, a little bit, where he's gonna get at least most of his 8 hours of sleep. He's an early bird. He don't do late sleep, so
Yeah.
he'll get up between, I would say, 6:37. But there's those times where he gets up 4 or 5 in the morning and he's not going to bed, and I'm up with him. So
Yeah.
it all depends. It all depends. You have to have patience. He has taught me patience a lot.
Yeah. I understand that. And actually, so this is really good because these are veering into my next question. So you do have two children, and even though their ages are slightly different, how is it like how are you able to balance parenting like both children and all the things you have to do?
I don't even know how I do it. Everybody tells me, all my friends, my family, when they call and they're like, "Alicia, how do you manage both of them?" Because yes, I have a 16-year-old, but he's very close to me. So I have both of them. And then sometimes they get into little knickknacks in between. So I have to split them up. They're brothers. They're
Yeah.
always fighting. Not, I want to say fight, but play fighting. Because my older son, like, he knows he has autism, but he doesn't treat him like he has autism. He treats him like a regular little, let's hang out, let's fight, let's play basketball. He talks to him because my son actually responds very well.
Yeah.
Like communication within the past few years of what I just told you of the background from 2 to 6, he's reading sentences right now. He has improved from what he was before. So when my older son see this, he's like, in his head, he's thinking, "Oh my God, my brother's getting better. Like, this is good." Sometimes I have to intervene because I have to explain to him, "Hey, they take their emotions a little bit much more, or his feelings might hurt a little bit more. So sometimes you have to step back." But
Yeah.
most of the time, he's really supportive. He's understanding. He helps out a lot. He really, really helps me out a lot. They have a really good close connection. So my balance is not bad. The balance is from me. Like, I don't get time for myself.
Yeah.
The balance between them, yes, I have a 16-year-old. I got to prep him for college soon. But then I have him, I have the little one where I have to give him this attention. But
Yeah.
then there comes the mom time where I don't have no time for myself because I already dedicated my time to 16-year-old. And then I have a 6-year-old that needs undivided attention.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'm just like, you know what? I just need one day. Just give me one day. And I take that one day. I relax. I do what I have to do. I'm in the house, but I'm just,
You said I'm in the house.
I
But I
am.
still took that day. Mark my words. I'm gonna challenge you. The next Monday, you're getting out. You're getting out of the
I'm
house.
in the house. Seriously, I'm in the house, but you know what? I
It's
think I'm so
okay.
nervous. I'm nervous for to It's so much the crazy thing that's going on. So I don't trust nobody with him. Like I don't know. I just have to get out of that trust issue of maybe somebody's going to actually take the time and make sure he's good. Other than that, that's why I don't go nowhere because I don't trust no one.
I mean, maybe an hour or two. So, like, people probably think I'm crazy, but I try to squeeze everything into like all the time I can get. So, if my son's in school and I'm like, okay, maybe I can run to my favorite like Chinese spot
Restaurant.
or Thai spot that's downtown and it's called Spice 28, and I already know exactly how much my food's gonna cost. I know exactly how long it's gonna take for it to be.
Right.
I know exactly what I'm gonna do.
Right.
My waiter knows me. He knows that I come here probably once a week or once every 2 weeks. But that's pretty much like my self-care time, and that's like the only, kind of self-care
Only
time. But
time. Yes.
you have to schedule. I learned you
I
have to
am.
schedule that in or
I
else.
am. That's one of the biggest challenges I have, I would say. The challenges is that I dedicate myself to the boys, but I don't dedicate a lot of self to myself. And I know that helps balance the rest of,
Yeah.
the rest of your journey with these kids and taking care of them and being as a mom. And so, and then I have my other little side things that I want to work on and, work on
Yeah.
me. So I try to
And you
do
can
what I
work on those things as you're going out, with yourself. You give yourself a little bit of time here and there.
true. That is true. I'll try.
So you're
I'll
you're 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 gonna you're gonna do it, or even little baths and stuff like that. Like I'll tell people all the time, like take a Epsom
Oh
salt
yeah,
bath. Do
that's
that
my
at
favorite.
least like once every couple of days. Throw some cook your stuff. Throw some other stuff in there, and that'll just help with the energy and stuff
It
like that. I'm real
does.
big
It
on
does.
energy. Yeah,
It does. It does. I have a lot of essential oils. I'm definitely into that. So I like to keep the lavender like mellow. I try to have a mellow within the house, but
yeah. I'll
I
actually give Austin a Epsom salt bath, and I'll throw other stuff in there like before he goes to sleep. And I find doing that and like massaging him, because when he was a kid, it was really difficult for him. Pretty much kind of the same thing, but I found that he had a lot of like internal, like his stomach would, kind of, it would be hard for him to digest stuff, probably similar stuff. So, like at night it was just kind of the worst. So I would have to like usually massage him or stretch him out or some stuff
right.
like that. And I talk about Austin having epilepsy on another podcast. So he
I do.
is on pretty much medication, and the medication that he's on with that actually has helped him with like sleeping, and it's helped like with like kind of his mind and slowing down
Regulate his
and
own.
and stuff like that. Yeah, because he used to kind of always be up. So that has been like very kind of life changing in that sort of way. Because beforehand, I'm just like, when am I going to sleep? When am
Yeah.
I going to sleep? When am I going to sleep?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
even when he was feeding, he was eating like like every 2 hours, and then would barely sleep and would be up in the middle of the night and
That, yep. Yep.
whining and crying. And it's just like, what do you need me to do? Because you also can't tell me what you need me to do. So there's definitely a lot there, but
There's
that's
a
why I
lot.
always say, like, if you have a child on the spectrum, it's really good to like kind of see whatever else is going on, because it always seems like they all kind of have something else
They do. They
going on.
do. They do. My son has a lot of sensory, so his issue is clothing, eating. I have to cut the tags off his t-shirts because
Oh, he don't like it.
he doesn't like the tags. There's literally 5 things that he eat on the list. I've tried every food categories, every food that you can think a toddler
Yeah,
would like, and he does not like it. He literally eat 5 things. He did cereal. I'm now able to let him eat chicken nuggets, and it has to be from Chick-fil-A. It can't be from nowhere else.
that's the best kind. That's my kid right there.
I know. Like
Yeah,
sneakers, certain sneakers, I found out on my own when I like purchased sneakers for him. He can't wear regular Nike. He has to wear New Balances because of how they walk. like how they walk, like how he walks on his toes, and he's kind of like flat footed. So Nike are too heavy for him to, walk in. So I have to use different sneakers for him. Jeans, he doesn't like jeans, so I have to buy all sweatpants for him. So he doesn't do jeans. So his sensory challenges are high, like
Yeah.
really, really doesn't like loud noise. I have to dim every light in this house. He doesn't like bright lights. Um, it's just so much noise, bright lights, food, the foods that he eats, the clothing that he wears, every certain thing. He's very OCD. He doesn't like to touch dirt, but this is your dirt.
Yeah. You said, but this
Your mess. He doesn't like to touch certain things. He's like, "Oh, mom, that's so dirty. It's nasty." So, I'm learning a lot. He teaches me patience,
yeah,
and that's something that I did not have before, honestly. But he has motivated me to have patience. He has motivated me to just keep going because he has to keep going. If I don't keep going, then who's gonna fight for him? So he pushes me to just, stay up, stay level up, and I have to continue fighting because
yeah,
honestly, even the disability rights is not fair. Just that alone by itself is not fair.
yeah,
And then you got the medical part, insurance, that's not fair. So then add autism on top of those two, and then children who has other diagnoses on top of that. It's hard. It's hard. It's really, really hard.
it is. But you're doing an awesome job, and I'm really glad to have you on here. So I wanted you to give some advice to some of the parents who are just, finding out that their child's on the spectrum, or any advice to parents who have multiple children. Because I know when I go to conferences, I'll hear other parents kind of ask questions about like trying to spend time with like one child or trying to give time, kind of equal out. So, any advice you have for us newer parents?
I will say just reach out to other people to support. The support helps a lot. I also say that, you know, just making sure that you're there, you're not giving up. You're gonna have those bad days, you're gonna have those good days, you're gonna have those off days. But I would say if you are just a new mom and you finding out the autism, it will get better. I was told that. I'm actually seeing it for myself. I didn't believe it at first when people tell me or other moms like, trust me, once he reaches like 8 or 9, he's gonna get better. And I'm like, no, he's not. And I'm going back and forth. Now I actually see, yes, I do see the progress. It does get better. I just have to have patience.
Mhm.
So new moms just have patience. It's going to get better. If you do have the support, make sure you do hold on to the support as much as you can. It does help a lot. They need all the love and attention they can. Um, and just keep going. Just keep pushing. Just keep fighting.
Yeah, and I'm just really lucky and to have you here, especially all the things you said about New Jersey, because I know later on I'm about to go, I'm about to go through that state and start looking up some things.
Jersey, yes, Jersey. But you're in PA, so Philly doesn't have anything, but outskirt of Montgomery actually does. So Montgomery has a lot of
Yeah,
resources.
they do have it. Every time I go to a conference and I meet women from the county, they're just like, if you were out here, you get it. And I'm just like, I know that, but I just bought my house here. Like, and
Oh,
yeah, like I actually bought my house during COVID.
oh,
So, and I didn't know, like, that's why, and I might as well just put
yeah.
this
And
back.
they go everything by zone because yeah, if they do everything zone, if you're in Philadelphia, they're not gonna no
Yeah.
caseworkers from Montgomery County is gonna actually go down there. So yeah, I
Yeah,
do.
no, they don't wanna do that. Philly is huge because honestly, Philadelphia school district really needs to be broken up into like 4 sections, to be
Yes,
honest, because the way the money is allocated even
yes,
throughout the district, I'm like, okay, so certain schools in the Northeast and South Philly and just certain schools where you know why the money's going there, but then other schools aren't getting that money.
suffering.
Where I went to Franklin Learning Center, and I don't think we could drink the water out of our water fountains, but then other schools are having like water placed in there where it can come out into their water bottle and they can drink it.
Yeah.
So it has to make, it just doesn't make sense
It
living.
doesn't. It doesn't. And you know what you said, piggyback on what you said, most of the states are like that. There are
Yeah,
all the money for the school district. They're going to take the money and go to where they feel like it needs the most and forget the
yeah,
ones that those areas that needs the help. And
yeah,
you're gonna be fighting a battle forever. You just literally gotta try to squeeze yourself into where you can fit in and hold on to it, run with it, and just try to get as all the resources as you can for your, for your child or children.
I'm seriously, because I know for me right now, I'm looking at private schools. And
Yes,
the thing is about this public school that I would like to start, and this is something that's going to take me probably a couple years to fight and do, because this is a legal state thing and
yeah,
it's going to take
it
a
is.
lot. But I have my political science degree and I've gone through and I know how to fight myself. So this is something that I'm
Good.
working on. But while I'm working on it, I'm going to make sure that my child, of
Of
course, is
course.
good. So the private school that hopefully he'll be getting into, there's smaller ratios, which
Yes.
is something that
Yes.
a school for children with autism, ideally to me, should have at least 9 children in it, 8 or 9 children.
Agreed.
One teacher and maybe at least 3 professionals or 2 professionals, and then you
Agreed.
have different. Then the therapists will all be there. Like everyone needs to be in the same location. The fact that everyone's coming in and out of the building alone is not safe,
It's
and
not.
there's no cameras really, like no one's being held accountable when something does happen to our children.
Yes.
No one is being held accountable. So it's like an easy way for people to kind of hide and and stuff like and not really have to provide what they should provide. So
Yeah.
and if our children go to a public school, that means they're getting money for our child being there, especially if they are a special need. So for
Not
me, it's just
getting
like I need
taken
to
care
see
of.
where that money is going, and I'm not
Right.
seeing where the money is going, guys.
Exactly, exactly. That's what it is. That's why you have to literally fight. And I said the same thing. Private school was one of my other interests that I have to put in him because it is a smaller classroom.
Yeah.
Um, I will I will big up New Jersey again. Those everything that you listed there was only 5 kids in the classroom.
Yeah.
One experienced teacher and a supporter. All the side the all the therapists was in one location. They all communicate together in one team. I literally New Jersey definitely has it. It's just an expensive state to live, and
That's what I'm hearing.
so you're still gonna have to fight your battles. Yes, you're gonna be able to get the help, but then it's like, all right, how am I living? How am I gonna pay my bills? You know,
Right.
certain not everyone could work. In the state of
Right.
New Jersey when it comes to these children that have autism. I didn't. I started working in the IT career in the hospital, and then I had to shut it down because
Okay.
of his challenges. It needed more service. So I decided to just say, you know what, close the doors of my career and focus on my son. And that's what I decided.
Yeah, I had to do that too. I had to do that too, like permanently last year. I really tried though to
Me
to
too.
hang in there.
Me
I
too.
even worked overnight. So I was working overnight, barely sleeping during the day, you know what I mean? And then
Yep.
still handling everything. And then it just got so much with just the things he needed where I'm like, I'm falling asleep in the middle of the day. So I can't
Yes.
like what I need to take care of. I'm gonna have to just yeah, I think that's something that not a lot of parents really, not a lot of people talk about,
Hmm.
but you do have to choose kind of, and a lot of people really kind of can't choose, or
No.
you're put in a position, I really couldn't choose, but at the same time I don't really have a choice because my son needs these things. So it's
You
just like I'll
do.
figure out how to do these other things later
Right.
because he needs this now. So
Right. And then don't talk about let's not talk about the SSI. That's another thing by itself, and the waiting list and how much do you get provided, where how can you live on a monthly basis with the income that they provide. So that's a whole nother ball game by itself. So it's hard.
yeah, this
It's
country
hard.
really sucks when it comes about parents, because I've been online, and even though other countries don't have certain things that we have, but like for instance the UK, I think they have an allowance for
They
those
do.
parents, and it
They
doesn't
do.
take much for those parents to get it because they understand that they need to take care of these children and take care of the parents, because if the parents aren't working, then like you're just kind of creating a cycle of just you're
Yeah.
not really helping anybody.
No,
So
no, you're not. It absolutely not. So trust me, I've done the same thing. I've looked at what states actually provide the best resources for children,
yeah.
and the top three states were Colorado, California, and it was another. The majority of them were all West and Arizona. There were the
Okay.
top three states that actually they have autism schools, not one, not two, but three.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, they have they just have everything provided. There's nothing, but who wants to go live in Arizona? Who wants to go live in Colorado? Who wants to go
Yeah.
live in California?
You'll pretty much, yeah, you'll pretty much be, it's really expensive for Cali. So you're right. Like all those places expensive, or you're kind of, it's hot, it's kind of out there.
But
So
it has it. but they have
But they have it.
but they have everything possible that you could think of. The schools, the everything. It's provided there for you. But nobody really is going to go to those states and live in those states. So you have to deal with the states that you're living in and try to work towards it or amount or around it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. So question, what are you doing? Because I know I have put up your Instagram handle, which I'm gonna end up putting in the link on YouTube with other things that you would like me to put in the link. But
Okay.
so just tell us about like how you're advocating, what you're doing in the future, and if you want to talk about like what made you start that page.
Yeah. So I started that page because I was silent. I was one of those moms, not ashamed, but just, finding my little resources in the end. But I still wasn't finding out the knowledge I needed to find out. So I just decided to put his page up and say, let me share some stories on what we do on a daily basis. Pick up on the things that a parent might see, like, hey, my kid does that, or I might do something with him. So I started that page, just to share his beautiful story, share awareness, what it is, what he does on a daily basis, school, work, how I'm educating with him, with how he does basic life skills. So I did that. I'm actually working on. I want to do an affirmations book for him, so I'm working on that. I'm actually also working on just a specific, I won't say too much too broad, but just a specific clothing line, just target for children who autism, just because of my son's reaction to clothing. I
Yeah,
can't walk in a Target store or or any other store where just they all have tags.
yeah,
So there's certain things that I want to provide for children who have issues with tags, who have issues with undergarments, who have issues with jeans. So that might be forever down in the long run, but I am working on that now. I am working on the book right now, and just continue to share my share my advocates for him, share my awareness, still connecting with other moms, connecting with other communities, whatever I can share, bring resources, links, whatever I can do that can help one another, because it's just not me. It takes a whole village to raise a child that has autism. It takes a whole village to raise a regular child. So you know, my only and one thing I want to concentrate it on is just pushing that awareness for him, on behalf of him, and to spread it with the other moms, single, married, or just regular.
yeah. Because I didn't even talk about this earlier, but I actually found Alicia on through Instagram. And I'm not even really sure how I found you, but through
Found you through. So I actually always looking to connect, because I actually have a
okay.
TikTok page where it's a little more in depth. Like, there's videos where I actually school him. You see me live and direct behind the scenes. So I have a lot of followers on TikTok who are autism moms, who is just so surprised of the things that I do with him. I work with him on a daily basis. Like, I do flashcards with him. And there's certain apps that help my son be able to read. And once I know he likes something, I just hold on to it, and I just let's go, just let's go. He's great with making music. He's 6. There's people that make what is that? The garage band that makes beats. He literally can make beats. I watched him direct us make beats. I was so surprised to see him do these things. So I want to capture those things, because it could help another mom put a smile on their face. It could help another kid who's actually into music. Like, if he can do it, then I can do it, you know? So I used to look at it like, or I've seen a lot of moms talk about, oh, why are you exposing him? And why are you showing on his bad this? And why are you showing on his meltdowns? And why are you showing that? I'm not promoting anything negative. I'm promoting something that's positive, that actually could help another family member or child in a situation that they were in and couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Real quick, I literally had one crazy meltdown. I remember, just before we get signed off. And he had a bad meltdown, and it was probably because he was watching something on his tablet, and he was so stuck on it. And once I removed that tablet from him, he got upset. And then it got me upset because I'm human. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I remember I just broke down crying. I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't think I have it. I don't have this in control. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm in a lot of Facebook groups too with some other autism moms.
Yeah.
I literally just went and just started writing. I just wrote the whole entire thing, what I was going through. And
Yeah.
once I wrote it, I had like over 100 and something comments of, go ahead, mom, you can do it. And, they gave me advices, they gave me resources, they gave me
Yeah.
links. And I was so shocked to see all the love and the support that I got. I was so amazed. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm not here by myself. I'm
There's
not
a
here
little
alone.
tribe. There's a tribe.
And I was excited. And I literally, once I saw those comments and I talked to those other moms who actually been in the same situation than me, worse situation than me, I felt so much better. I felt a relief. I feel like, you know what, I got this. I'm entitled to have a breakdown. I'm entitled to have a meltdown too, also, because I'm human and I get frustrated. And I just wanted to make my son feel better. There's sometimes it doesn't really help out. It doesn't really come out like this within 2 seconds. Sometimes you literally takes hours or 2 hours just to get them settled in.
Yeah.
So I reached out to the Facebook moms and they reached out to me and I was like, you know what, I think I got this. And it just gave me much more strength to just keep pushing. Just
Yeah.
keep pushing. And that's what I started doing.
And sometimes that's I feel like all we need because we already do a lot. Like we take on a lot, so just that little extra from people we've never even seen. Just you got it.
Yes, it does help. It does help. Seeing those little comments that tell me
Yeah.
you're such a good mom. When I criticize myself numerous times, like I'm such a bad mom. I don't think I'm doing this right. I literally criticize myself. And then when I think about it, it's like, no, you did this, Alicia, and you did this with him. And I would have never been able to do this with him. So when I hear those things, it's like, all right, I'm making progress. I am doing something. And I need to just give myself a little bit more credit then.
Yeah, and some grace, because like you said, we're all human. And just like our kids are gonna have certain days too. Like sometimes I'll have to like say to some people like, okay, well, just this just may not be his day because I
It's
know sometimes for me, I don't have my days, but I'm an adult, so I can possibly choose not to
control.
put myself in certain situations where our kids have to really go through it, but they really aren't feeling it. So
No, no,
you
at
can tell,
all.
you can tell where they really aren't
Oh,
feeling the day, and it's just like, all right, I'm just letting you know he's in a mood
yeah,
today.
I'm gonna let you have your space. You have your space, and when you're ready, you could come talk to mommy,
Yeah.
and then I'll come and talk to you after. So
And let me know when you want a snack. Just let me know when you want the snack.
that's it. Just let me know when you want something to eat, and I'll provide it for you. It's a learning progress, but I won't have it any other way. You
Yeah.
know what? I honestly I won't. Even though there's times when I cried and I was frustrated, I won't have it the other way because it wouldn't teach me the things that I know right now.
Yeah.
It just won't teach me. It won't teach me the patience. I didn't have patience before. I have it now. The persistence I always had that, but it just made me more persistence. The fight in me, it got more a little aggressive. I just want to make sure I have the best interest for him. So at least once he turned 1 8, this, I know that the world, at least I know that I've created something for him, and that where he's in a safe space until he reaches 18. Because after 18, it's not out of my control, but if you know what I'm trying to say, it's not out of
Yeah.
my control, but he's still within my control of me. He's still, now he has his own say to say certain things. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure that the space is provided for him properly so that when he does turn 18, there's no issues.
Let's see. Look at you. Look, you sound like you should be a parent advocate for I know in Philly they said that at IEP meetings you can have parents at your IEP meetings. Like you can have other parents. So if
Oh, I
that's
didn't know that.
if that's the case in North Carolina, you should look it up. I could definitely be at your IEP meetings. If
Oh
you
yeah.
want, and vice versa. We could.
We can do that. We can do that. Listen, it's all about. I am all about uniting, connecting. As if I can get all the resources in the world that we can help one another, then I'm all for it. Everybody else told me I'm the teacher, so I used to be a trainer, so I feel like I'm always teaching and telling somebody what to do and telling this guidance and here you do this. So you never know. I don't know.
Yeah. So
Hopefully,
yeah, we'll definitely link up on that. But So I really appreciate having you on this podcast. Let me just put this link on here for anyone that wants to see for sign the link for the petition.
Okay.
So I'm going to be putting this up tomorrow on YouTube or on Friday. It'll be up on there with some links so that you can follow Alicia on the Instagram or any other pages that she would want to provide that you guys want to follow up. And I hope that we will have her here again.
Yes, we will. We could probably talk about a different topic, something else.
Yes, yes. So we could talk about probably a lot of different things when it comes
Yeah.
to stuff that our sons do. So but once again, thanks for tuning in, guys,
Thank you.
and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Have a great one, guys.